Welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Dee Dee, this is Randy, and we're here at Frederick County Animal Control on Rosemont Avenue, and we are going to bring you some adoptable animals today. These are animals in your shelter who are awaiting a home, and we have many kinds of animals: dogs, cats, birds, guinea pigs, hamsters, rabbits. And of course, if we don't have what you want today, we have a waiting list. You can let us know what you want and we'll call you when we get it. We're going to start with Tommy, and Tommy is a quite beautiful cat. He is a medium-haired cat that has beautiful blue eyes, and the color that he is called lynx point, and that just means that on the points of his body, face, ears, tails, and feet, he has tabby markings. And Tommy's story is a little sad, as are many of the stories of the animals who end up homeless. But he is 10 years old, and his owner was not able to take care of him anymore due to the owner's health. Tommy's fine, but it's hard for a 10-year-old cat to get adopted. It shouldn't be, because cats can live 15 to 20 years, so he has plenty of time left to give. But often people want a kitten. And soon, from April to October, we will have thousands of kittens, well, over 1,000 kittens. And so it'll be a little hard for him to be chosen, but I think he'll be okay because he's so beautiful. He also happens to be a very kind and affectionate cat, so he'll make somebody a very nice pet. And he is waiting to meet that person now. So if you've been thinking about getting a cat, one of the things we recommend is, if you were to take Tommy home, is that you would put him in the bathroom for a couple days so he wouldn't be overwhelmed by the change, and also so you could go in and see him and become his anchor for what he can count on in his new environment, and then you let him out to explore the house when he was likely to come back to you if he gets nervous or worried. So if you have been thinking about getting a cat, summer is a great time because we have so many to choose from. It's also a great deal to get a shelter cat because, as you all know, they're spayed and they have been started on their shots. Many of them even have a rabies shot this time of year because we take them out and about to events. So we hope that if you think about getting a cat, you'll think of the shelter first. We are back with Buddha. And Buddha is a beautiful gray and white domestic short hair. He's a little shy. So Randy said when he went to get him, he jumped down off the shelf and came forward and was making biscuits. But it is a lot to ask for a cat that you don't know to jump into a box, which you carry to a different place and then open. Cats are very insecure in new places. The first question they have to ask is it safe here? Are there predators? And of course, because humans, we have our eyes in the front, we clearly are predators. They have to scope out every new place very carefully. Unlike dogs are more like us, top of the food chain, not too worried about being eaten on a daily basis, go to new places curiously and interested in what they might find. But for cats, it's a real danger to change territories. So, takes them a minute to realize that it's safe here, that we're all calm and everyone's going to be nice to him, for him to feel comfortable to let you see him. And the same thing happens when you take a new cat from the shelter. Sometimes people say they feel compassion for cats that land in the shelter because the first 2 days they're a little unnerved by being in a new place. But one of the things people often forget when they say, "Oh, I can't wait to adopt this cat and take him home where he'll be happy," is that when you take him home, he's still scared for 2 days. Anytime they change places, even if you know the place is going to be more accommodating to the individual cat, and even if you know that you're going to offer him more comforts that maybe he's never had before, he doesn't know that. So whenever you go to take a cat to a new place, you just want to be patient and gentle and let them have a minute to make sure everything's going to be okay. Buddha's only 8 to 10 months old. Came to us as a stray, hasn't been neutered yet, but we will do that for you before you take him home. And one of the characteristics of him having not been neutered and reaching almost a year old is his chubby cheeks. And a lot of people like that look in a cat, and it's common in short-haired maturing males. So lovely he is, and he has a lot to offer. We know when stray cats are this comfortable with being handled that they, as kittens, had the company of people. He just never had a person of his own, which he does need. So if you are interested in adopting a cat, please come by the shelter, and if you think Buddha is the one, let us know. We are back with Callie, and she is a calico cat. She is 6 years old, and her specific form of calico is called dilute, and all that means is that it is cream and gray instead of orange and black on white. And a lot of people like calico cats. Some people say that they're good luck. She is an outgoing and friendly cat, very confident. So not shy at all, like the cat that we just met. She has an easier time going to new places, and I suspect that's because she's been around. She's gone to more places than a 9 or 10-month-old cat who ended up in the shelter. So that does make a difference when you are choosing a cat to share your life with you. Do you want a cat that is going to handle lots of people coming over? Then Callie is your girl. Do you want a cat that will kind of disappear when you have company? Then of course you want to go with Buddha. And we can help you with that. When you come to the shelter, all you have to do is tell us what you imagine your cat's going to be like in your home. And then we will help you out with 5 or 6 cats that would be similar to that. And then you can decide which one is a good match for you. You're going to want to pick based on long hair, short hair, and don't fall for the idea that short-haired cats shed less, because that's not true. Long-haired cats have to be brushed. Their hair tends to come out while they're being brushed rather than all day, every day. And short-haired cats, while they do have a shedding season that coincides with the photo period. So as the days get longer, they shed a little, and as the days get shorter, they shed a little. Cats, like people, are always replacing their hair a little bit. So you need to be aware that having a pet, or for that matter, a roommate, involves a little disarray that you don't control. So if you are interested in a beautiful cat, then Callie may be your choice. But if you're not interested in adopting a cat now at all, and you're just hanging on until we get to the dog section, but you know somebody who might want a cat, paste her picture on your Facebook page, or you can, at the end of the show, we'll have a link to this episode you can share in an email, because anything you can do to get the word out to people who might be looking, or someone else who might pass on the picture, helps us. We're the only shelter in Frederick County, so we have 600 square miles to cover. And of course, we will adopt out, she's using her claws, we will adopt out cats to people that don't live in Frederick, as long as they are interested and ready for a pet. We don't care where they find their new home, as long as it is a good, safe one where they're going to be taken care of. We are back with Josie, and Josie is a calico cat as well, and she is the typical black and orange rather than the diluted color of Callie, and she is 2 to 3 year old female, and Josie is just getting over a cold. One of the things that people often believe about the shelter is that we can't help sick animals. And there's some truth to that, because if we get cats that test positive for feline leukemia, we don't offer them for adoption. And the reason for that is feline leukemia can shorten their life and also make them sickly during the time that they are alive. And we don't want to offer a pet to someone that is going to be heartbreaking and costly from the get-go. However, a cat that has a cold, not a big deal. Just like if we get the cold or flu, she's going to get over it with supportive therapy. So put Randy to the test. She is on medication now, and as soon as she finishes her medication, then she'll be ready for adoption. And Randy talked a little bit about that last week with his dog Pepper. He adopted Pepper from us, and Pepper was quite sick while Pepper was here. So it's not that we can't keep any sick animals, it's that we do have a problem keeping contagious animals if the disease they're carrying could be potentially life-threatening. Because if we have one such contagious animal in this building, all 200 animals here are put at risk for that one. And sometimes we have to make tough choices about that. But the idea that we don't help sick animals because we're an open admission shelter is simply not true. We have generous donations from citizens who give us money for our medical fund. We have generous veterinarians in the community who give us discounts for animals that are in trouble. And so we are able to do a lot for the homeless animals of Frederick County. It's just that because we're funded by tax dollars, we're not going to spend a huge portion of tax money to save one animal when that same budgetary allotment could be used to save 20 animals. So tough decisions, yes, but our staff is very good at it. Our director's been here for 10 years, so he knows how these decisions best are made to help the most as often as we can. So this little girl, Josie, is also confident and outgoing and ready for a new home. Beautiful cat. Many people like calico cats, and it is a popular and common color, but certainly her particular facial markings are quite lovely, and she's going to make somebody very happy if they like calicos. But if you don't care about the color of your cat, which lots of people don't, she is young, outgoing, friendly, and curious, and she's going to be a lot of fun to have in your house. So if you are interested in a cat like Josie, then please come by and meet her. We are back with Hope, and Hope is a long-haired tortoiseshell cat. Tortoiseshell is very similar to calico in its coloring. It just doesn't have as much white, and the patches of orange and black are much smaller. So she looks a lot like horn-rimmed glasses or tortoiseshell. Hope came to us as a stray, and you might think there's no way that this cat was just a lost cat wandering around Frederick, but sure enough, it happens every day. And as beautiful as she is and as affectionate as she is with people, we are sure that she had a family. But a lot of times people do not look for their missing cats right away, and by the time the cat ends up in the shelter, they've already given up looking, which is pretty sad because since we're the only shelter, it's not hard to find your cat in the shelter if they end up here. So we named her Hope. Her name was not always that, but we don't know what her real name was because she came to us with no identification at all. The other thing when she came in is she wasn't, her hair wasn't very tangled, so obviously someone was taking care of her. Only about 6% of our cats end up being reclaimed, 6% of our lost cats, but less than 3% of our total cat population. Of course, half of our cats come from people who bring them to us because they don't want to reclaim them. So Hope is quite lovely and quite timid and gentle. We spent a lot of time when Hope first arrived trying to find out what she likes to eat, because apparently she doesn't like shredded food, and she doesn't like chunky food, and she doesn't like gravy on her food. But now she has gotten comfortable enough here to eat and do a good job of that. So despite how fluffy she looks, she doesn't weigh much, and she is going to need an owner who's going to pamper her. She is by no means spoiled or demanding. She's just very unsure. So she's going to need somebody who will be patient with her and encourage her and let her know that that she's going to be okay, and spend some time with her, getting her used to her new environment, which I'm sure she will like better than here. But as I explained in the beginning, cats like what they know. So anytime you change it, you need to be a little patient with them to get them to accept that things are different. Even if they're different better, things are different, and that can be hard on cats. If you are not looking for a cat at all, then join us after the break, and we will have some other animals for you that are in need of adoption, and hope you join us after the break.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy. Oh, and she even talks to it. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
We are back with Diesel and some other adoptable dogs at Frederick County Animal Control. And Diesel is only 9 or 10 months old. And what a great puppy. He is probably, his shape doesn't look like he's a pit bull, but because he's brindle, and his coat doesn't look like a pit bull, but because he's brindle, we're gonna say he's part pit bull, because that will protect him from anyone adopting him who has a landlord who has restrictions, or homeowners insurance that has restrictions, so that you're prepared. But we actually don't know his lineage other than what you see right here. He is low energy for a puppy of his age, which is great. If you are interested in a puppy, he's ready to learn. He can sit when you ask him to. He'll give you his paw. Quite nice dog. He came to us with Max, who you're going to meet in a moment. So we also know that he has great dog skills. And he is, you know, a lot of people say they want a big dog. And what you don't know when you get a big dog is what their energy level will be. And a big dog that has high energy and is easily distractible can be a handful. But because Diesel has a low energy level and good attention to people, he's going to be an easier puppy to train than some, and you still get the big dog out of it. So I think he's going to make somebody really happy. If you are interested in Diesel, then please let us know, and we'll tell you all about his experience. The reason his owners gave him and Max up to the shelter is that their landlord said no, that you can't have 2 dogs, and that is such a common problem. So if you have a landlord, make sure before you get a pet that you ask them and have in writing that you can have the pet and what your obligations are. But if you are trying to convince a landlord that is unsure, things that you can do are offer a security deposit that the landlord can keep if the dog does any damage to their property. Also, take your dog to an obedience class and share the certification with your landlord showing that your dog is well trained, or at least you're working on it. Get a letter from your vet that your dog's behavior in the vet is acceptable, that he's not too aggressive for the vet, not that a dog being afraid and trying to bite the vet is bad, but it gives your landlord confidence if your dog is not that. If your dog is comfortable getting vaccines and getting examined by a stranger, then if you were interested in adopting Diesel in particular, you could share the link at the end of this show and show that Diesel is only 9 or 10 months old, and look how good he is. We are back with Max, and Max is a little younger than Diesel, and he came to us with Diesel, so they get along very well. However, they do not need to be adopted together. They don't cry when they're separated, and they spend the days apart. But we let them stay together at night since they know each other and they're of similar age and they can play with each other, and it's good for them socially. Max is some kind of terrier, maybe part Boston Terrier, maybe part Jack Russell, maybe Manchester Terrier, who knows. But as you can see, he has a higher energy level than Diesel, even though he's close to the same age. Beautiful markings and a short coat and a nice size. So if you are looking for a dog that is like a big dog you could jog with, travel with, camp with, but who you could carry in an emergency, then Max might be the right dog for you. He's pretty friendly. He's doing very well here in the shelter, and he is enrolled in our training program. And what that means is we have volunteer trainers that come in and teach him to pay attention, to not pull on the leash, things like that. Because of his high energy level, we feel like it will help him get a home to learn some life skills while he's here that he can use in his new home. Clearly, he knows his name, and he really likes people. So one of the hard things for people who want a puppy to decide is a baby puppy. Like last week, you saw that we had Gambit on the show, and so quiet and so sleepy and so cute. You bond with the puppy when he's a baby so that when he's a toddler, like this, it's easy because you already love the puppy and you're already attached. It's harder to adopt a puppy at this age because he's energetic and wants to do stuff and doesn't know you yet. But still, it's really short-lived. Puppyhood is short-lived, and you will look back on it fondly, no matter how trying it is while you're going through it. And so we recommend crate training for him as well. And he is still working on his house training, as are most dogs that are under a year old. And we can tell you how to do that as well. But he's smart, and grooming-wise is going to be easy to take care of. Lovely little dog. And I think he's going to make somebody a great pet. So if you are interested in a dog like Max, then please let us know. He's a cutie. We are back with Peppa. And Peppa has been returned to the shelter. And I will tell you, she is one of my favorite dogs. When she first came here, she was quite shy, and she came to us as a stray. Now this is a bull and terrier dog. Very often you will see us describe dogs like Diesel as pit bull mixes, and he's probably not. Or even dogs like Max, because he's part terrier. But this is a bull and terrier. Now, we don't know if she's American Staffordshire Terrier, and we don't know if she's American Pit Bull Terrier, but one of the things that people say is bull and terrier breeds are representative of 30 different mixes of dogs. But it is a certain type of dog that's quite loyal, able to kill rats in a barn if asked to do so, and able to protect you if asked to do so. And they have such a bad reputation because for some reason all 30 breeds are lumped together. Now, if I were to say to you that retrievers and setters are bad dogs, that would mean, and they're not, that would mean golden retrievers, Labrador retrievers, Irish setters, Irish red and white setters, Gordon setters, lumping those dogs together and saying, how many of those dogs have ever run loose? Plenty. How many of those dogs have ever jumped on people and knocked them down? Plenty. So I could make the same statistical case that retrievers are bad based on the same methodology that's been used to say that bull and terrier dogs are bad. So it's just bad statistics. However, she really is a bull and terrier dog, and as you can see, she's afraid. She's afraid to be here, very shy, but here's what we know about her. She was adopted into a home for 2 weeks where she blossomed. She loved their other dogs so much they played constantly. They had a 2.5-year-old child and a little older child. She knew not to jump on the children, even though she will jump up on an adult if you invite her. She is a gentle soul with a great attitude towards other animals. They also had a cat. She was intimidated by the cat and left the cat alone. So she has so much to offer. The people who adopted her would be happy to talk to you about how wonderful she was. And it sounds crazy to say they brought her back because she and their dog got along so well. It sounds almost unbelievable, but it was that they weren't prepared to have 2 rambunctious puppies in the house. They were thinking it would be a good idea to get a young dog to play with their dog so they'd occupy each other. And that is in fact what they did and what they got. But they found out that living in a townhouse without a yard to put them out into play, that it was too much to have 2 dogs constantly playing and enjoying each other. So I would love to see her go to a house with another dog because she really enjoys the company. If you think that Peppa would make a good dog for you, then please come and meet her, because I'm telling you, she has inside of her everything she needs to be an awesome dog. She's just had a little tough time of it, getting lost from her family, ending up here as a stray, and then being adopted shortly to a place she really, really liked but wasn't able to keep. We are back with Dixie, and Dixie is only 6 months old. And with all of our puppies, we take 4 applications and then pick the best match so that we can make sure someone is prepared for all of the horror stories I tell you about what badness puppies are. But they certainly pay off in the long run, like you saw Randy's dog last week lying at his feet. It only took 2 years to get him to be such a perfect, wonderful dog. But for puppies like Dixie, she's a little shy, and she is probably part Jack Russell Terrier. And a lot of people like Jack Russells because they're very smart, they're very active, easy to train. But one of the things Dixie has to offer is she's a little bit mellow for a Jack Russell or Jack Russell mix. So that's helpful because she's also snuggly, doesn't mind being carried. She's not a bad barker, and she's very pretty and a little nervous here. So Randy is he carried her in so she didn't have to walk, and trying to get her to eat a snack so she can see that it's safe here and we have food. But she is very cute. I'm not sure what she's mixed with. She could be all Jack Russell, just not show conformation quality. A lot of times we don't know, and what the research has shown is that even experts cannot tell by looking at a dog what breed they are. And you may have heard veterinarians tell you, oh, I'm sure your dog is part Gordon Setter. It's a best guess. The only way to tell for sure is to look for genetic markers with a blood test, and even that can't tell you everything that's in your dog. It'll just tell you certain of the traits that they have to have gotten from some dog that was related to some purebred dogs. So the reason that we use for identifying a breed is to help people choose. If you know a little bit about terriers, then you know that they are smart, determined, and they like to do stuff. So, you know, they can make a good Frisbee dog, they can make a good camping dog, but one of the things about terriers and hounds is they don't make good come when they're called dogs. So, does that mean you can't train that? Of course you can, but it means you need to do it, because there are a lot of retrievers and spaniels that just simply won't leave your side. Chihuahuas can be that way. They just want to be attached to you all the time. But terriers and hounds are more out and about. So you have to decide the tendencies that your dog has so you know what training things to work on. So Dixie is now available for adoption. And if you are interested in a puppy, come in and talk to us. We are back with Gunner. And Gunner has been here a little bit of time because he is a big, rambunctious, young dog. He's between 2 and 3 years old, and he knows how to sit, give his paw, catch a tennis ball. He'll lie down. He's very well trained, but he has a lot of energy. He's a similar dog to Diesel in appearance, but you can see how different they are in personality, because Diesel is kind of a thoughtful, check things out first. And Gunner, if you come to visit him in the shelter, is such a happy, friendly dog that we have comforters hanging in his cage, because he will wag his tail anytime he sees a person so hard he doesn't care if he hurts his tail on the side of the wall. Yeah. So really likes people, really likes to do stuff. And he has been to off-site shelter events where he has to meet strangers, meet other dogs, and he does great. So he already has a rabies shot, even though we will still ask anytime you adopt a pet that you take them to a vet for a once-over. Since he already has the rabies shot, he can go home with a license, already legal, ready to go. And he's really been a good boy while he's been here. So we are, what's the matter? So yeah, he hurt his tail. So he was licking his tail because he hurt the end of it from wagging it. So Gunner is a lot of dog, and he is what people talk about when they talk about a pit bull type dog. He's a mixed breed, but because he has a big head and because he's brindle, you have to make sure that your landlords and neighbors know that, that he's a big boy. So if you think that Gunner, or any of the dogs that you've seen today, or any of the cats for that matter, might make a nice pet for you, then please come by the shelter and meet them, meet us, talk to us about what you want. And if there are pets you haven't seen today that you might be interested in, don't forget, we have guinea pigs, rabbits, parakeets, hamsters, all kinds of pets that you might not even know about if you don't ask. Thank you for joining us on Pet Pals. We will be back next week with 10 more adoptable animals for you to look at. And obviously, if you found the match of your lifetime, come in, pick them up, take them home. But if not, then pass their pictures around and this episode of Pet Pals so we can get the word out that there are amazing animals at the shelter. And while we often have a lot of big untrained dogs turn into fantastic trained dogs like Pepper, Randy's dog, who you met last week. Thanks for joining us, and I hope we'll see you again.